Hello? How are we sounding? Hello? Hello?
Hi guys, how's everyone doing?
Oh, Natalie, can't speak. Oh. It's okay. I'm going to give it just a few more seconds just to see if anybody else will join in 1 second. I believe that is everybody who is going to join for right now. With that said, the time is now 6:02 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. The first item up on the agenda is AR 16/014, safeguarding. It's a really long title. Hold on.
My bad on
Safeguarding
that.
students
I compromised on the
open,
title.
safeguarding students' open expression, and I'm doing some CSG authoritarianism. Sponsor, if you would like to introduce, you can go ahead now.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So this is a very long bill, and I would be happy to introduce it. First and foremost, I wanted to apologize to the committee for missing a couple of meetings. I've had a very eventful summer thus far, let's just say. And in regards to this bill, basically, there is a lot of different changes since, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many former student general counsels, including also an actual lawyer who is an endorser on this document, there has been a significant amount of bills, laws, rules, some of them far before our time, far before my time, even being here for as long as I have been, that infringe upon the rights of students. And at the end of the day, when we're talking about rights, and we're not talking about privileges, we're not talking about, when is your time to speak in the CSG assembly. When we're talking about rights, that is not about what our preferences are for best practices. This is about the bare minimum that everyone has access to. And for this bill specifically, if you look at the different clauses, it does a couple of big things. For one, amends the compiled code to make things more transparent, in addition to getting rid of some of those restrictions on speech. Because, in my opinion, speech is a form of transparency. If people were not allowed to speak about things, whether they're a whistleblower, whether they're a CSG assembly member, whether they're just a student coming for community concerns, when you lose that ability to speak, you lose that transparency. If you look at the next part of the bill, there's the operating procedures. It undoes the, in my opinion, one of the worst pieces of legislation ever signed in CSG, which is the recording ban, because that's blatantly violating our U.S. Not the U.S. Constitution, our Constitution, in addition to possibly violating the Michigan Open Meetings Act, which is Michigan law, and the U.S. Constitution. And if you look at the other ones, some of them also take vague clauses that can be misapplied to speech, like vulgarity, which I'd be happy to answer questions about since there was some comments about that, and other forms of speech restrictions, including during the election cycle. There was also a part of this for the elections code where we are undoing some of the things that were declared unconstitutional by CSJ in, I believe it was HRP versus CSG in that court case. And if you look towards the end there, there's a couple other minor changes, just removing some language that doesn't change anything to just make this bill shorter, which, side note, and I'll leave off on this note, if you're ever writing a bill and you notice something egregious in the section you're editing, but it wasn't your original intention to amend that, I would recommend helping our bylaws out a little bit. They are 120 pages long. So if we can cut down on some of the useless part, that would be very useful. And I'd be happy to take any questions since this is a very long bill with a lot of outstanding comments. So I yield.
Any questions? Please just raise your hand. Representative Neely, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fiorito. I sponsored this last week for the sake of discussion. I noticed there are a lot of outstanding amendments. I guess the first suggestion I would make is to split off the election-related stuff into a separate bill to make it easier for everyone to read and be able to be more focused on these specific changes we are making. There are also some changes I have concerns about making, like removing removing the prohibition of, I guess, legitimate election integrity stuff like influence while voting or fraudulent ballots. We need those to be explicit in order to be enforceable. I also have quite a bit of concern about trying to remove the conflict of law provision. But yeah, there's a lot. So let's just take it one thing at a time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the concerns. So let me start with the first thing you said about the elections code. I'd be happy to split it off into a separate bill. I think it's more convenient to have it in one bill, but if everybody else thinks it would be much easier to be in a separate bill, I have no issues with that. Um, but I think it's just more convenient this way. In regards to the specific elections clauses, if you look at those clauses, none of the changes that are being suggested remove our ability to enforce things. I don't see that. If you could point me to the specific clause, that would be helpful. I guess I'll yield my time to Ms. Neely to point that out for me.
Yes. Yes. For one thing, if yeah, for one thing, if we strike out the section influence while voting, then that would mean we cannot treat it as a violation to try to change the vote or voting choice of a student while that student is in the act of voting. I have concerns with the way the rule has been interpreted in the past, but I do not agree with eliminating that rule or the rule against fraudulently casting a ballot. It just, it opens up too many loopholes without actually addressing any authoritarianism that we want to address.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to respond to that. I hope, obviously, I do not blame you at all for not seeing the comments since there is an onslaught of comments. But in regards to the fraud one, that isn't a change to the actual rule itself. The idea of removing that is literally just because it's impossible to cast a ballot if you fraudulently access it. So the idea is that there's not cast a ballot or access the voting thing fraudulently. It doesn't change the rule at all. It just removes 4 words that are redundant because obviously if you have no access to a ballot, how can you fraudulently cast a ballot? Because it's all online. So if you see my comment here, if you highlight the cast a ballot, literally the rationale is just that it makes it slightly shorter without changing it, which like I said before, I think that's best practices for CSG is when we have rules that are redundant and don't change anything, we should remove them. In regards to the
I'm
influence,
sorry, I'm going
yeah,
to cut in. I'm so sorry. Um, I'm receiving word that you are currently live streaming this committee meeting. Did you get a press pass for this?
I followed the rules and requested a press pass. I didn't hear back from the speaker. And regardless, this is a public meeting and we are public members of the body. And so look, it's very benign. And like I said, this is exactly the type of authoritarianism I'm talking about here. The whole point of CSG is to be public officials. So if you don't want your face on screen, just
I'm
don't.
sorry, Representative Burrito. This is not a debate. Um, if you did not receive a press pass, and secondly, I was not notified, you cannot live stream this meeting.
I followed the rules and asked for one and did not hear back from the speaker nor the program manager. And I tagged both of them, which is exactly what the rule
Therefore,
says.
you did not get one.
They
You did
didn't follow
not
the rules.
receive a press pass. You cannot live stream this meeting. I'm having representatives tell me they are uncomfortable with being recorded right now.
I see only my face on the camera. And also, I think that this is very important. And this exactly proves the point of this bill. Like I said before, this is a matter of principle and a matter of integrity. And I'm not going to back down on that.
For debate. I'm sorry. This is not up for debate. The live streaming has to end.
I think I'm going to stand on business on this one. I guess I'm sitting, but you know what I mean.
Madam Chair, I have a question. According to your interpretation of the code of conduct and ethics, do you believe it is an ethics violation to continue recording to continue recording after an instruction from the chair to stop, specifically contempt of assembly or contempt of committee or another provision of the code? I am honestly asking a question here. I am not taking a position on it at this time.
It would be awesome if we
Um,
could start talking about the bill, but you'll let me know.
no, they first receive a warning, but since I have warned you within this meeting to stop recording, I do have the power to remove you from said meeting because in the OP, page 14, if an individual attempts to record a meeting without an approval, credential, or without the committee being notified in advance of the meeting, the chair or vice chair, in their absence, shall remove that recording individual from the meeting.
Can I make a point of order real quick? Let's point out the Constitution, which is a superior document to the operating procedures.
I'm sorry, Tyler, this is not up for debate. If
A point of
you
order is
do,
a privileged motion, is it not?
it is. But again, the OP says it blatantly.
I know. Can I finish my point of order to point out the clause that supersedes the OP?
Go ahead.
So if you look at the CSG Constitution, if you go to Article 8, Student Rights, Section 1, Freedom of Speech, student governing bodies and organizations must not infringe upon any student's freedom of speech, freedom to publish, or freedom to peaceably to assemble and seek redress of grievances. I would argue that we are a student governing body. We are CSG. I don't think anyone would debate that. And I will also argue that publishing in the form of a live stream or a video recording is the definition of publishing. And this clause is the Constitution, which supersedes the operating procedures. So I would say that even enforcing the operating procedures that are beneath this is an unconstitutional provision. And I guess that's up for you to interpret it. But at the end of the day, this is a matter of rights and not privileges. And what we need to do here is set a standard. And that's up to you to set. Can we continue with the bills? Are we good?
No, we are not good. I'm sorry.
So are you saying that the Constitution doesn't say this?
I'm not saying that. The Constitution, hold on one second. The Constitution is under the interpretation of CSJ, and the interpretation of publish has yet to be said by CSJ. I would personally ask them right now in an advisory question what that means. But for right now, I am going to interpret publish as a published resolution or a published comment within something. That's what publish means. Yes, you do have the freedom of speech. I agree with that 100%. That's a national right. But right now, you do not have the freedom to record a meeting. That's what I'm stating. That does not infringe your personal rights, in my opinion, my personal one, not that of CSG. You are free to disagree with me, but for right now, I am looking at the members that are currently texting me and asking me that they do not want to be recorded. And I was not notified of this beforehand, and you do not have a credentialed pass for this. Therefore, you did not follow the rules within the OP.
I
And I
did.
have warned
I
you.
followed the rules, and the speaker and program manager didn't follow their end of the rules. So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to get like them impeached? Even though I love our speaker, I don't want him to be impeached. He's a good guy.
No, that's not what I'm saying. And you know exactly what I'm saying, and you are misinterpreting it on purpose right now.
I'm
You
not
also
actually.
did not notify me. That's part of it. You are supposed to notify me. I feel completely blindsided right now that I was not notified of this. And that's very hurtful to do that to another representative who's just trying to do her job. So, as I warned you in this meeting, if you do not stop recording now, you will be removed. I'm sorry.
Point of order. If you look at the definition of publishing in U.S. law, it's communicating information or making a work accessible. I am communicating information and making a work accessible. This is from U.S. federal law, or we can go down the Michigan Open Meetings Act. Are we going to really have this fight? I thought Human Rights Party was about human rights. What are we doing?
Unfortunately, I will have to remove you from the meeting. If you would like to talk to me privately another time, that would be wonderful. We could continue this conversation, but for right now, I'm sorry.
We stood on business.